Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something that seems straightforward but is actually a massive security headache. Securing really busy public places, Think about huge shopping malls, packed train stations, those giant parking garages, even busy downtown areas. Now, try to put yourself in the shoes of a security guard. You're supposed to be watching, I don't know, dozens, maybe hundreds of camera feeds all at once. Your brain's just swimming in constant movement, noise, potential threats. It's a lot. And here's the really surprising bit, maybe even scary, that we found in our research. It's this thing called video blindness. Get this. After only about 12 minutes of trying to watch multiple screens, a human guard, they might miss almost half, 45% of what's happening. Wait just a bit longer, say 22 minutes, which is, less than a TV show, and that number jumps way up. They can miss up to 95% of incidents. 95%.
Yeah, that stat really hits home, doesn't it? It's the absolute core of the problem. It basically proves that traditional surveillance methods, they're just fundamentally broken for these complex, high-traffic spots. You end up with these huge inherent blind spots simply because, well, humans can't process that much information constantly. You're essentially paying people to look, but they literally can't see everything. So our mission today really is to unpack the solution. We want to explore how modern video AI systems are stepping in to fix this basic human limitation. We're looking at a big shift, moving away from just reviewing footage after a crime happens towards a security posture that's genuinely proactive, something that prevents things from happening in the first place.
Okay, right. So if the issue is human fatigue, this video blindness, then the answer has to be something tireless, something digital. And what we're seeing from the source materials is that this shift comes from, well, combination, right, is the specialized AI agents, sort of the digital brains working together with flexible hardware, the eyes that can be put almost anywhere. And the goal is pretty clear. Detect things early, deter them in real time, and make investigations way, way faster. Minutes, not days.
Exactly. But maybe before we dive deep into the tech itself, let's just quickly paint a picture of the scale of the crisis these AI systems are actually designed to handle. Because the threats that are just overwhelming traditional methods, they're growing fast.
Yeah, the sources definitely highlight a huge spike in organized crime. We're talking organized retail crime, ORC, and really sophisticated shoplifting rings. Apparently since 2019, this kind of crime is up, a staggering 93%?
Yeah.
And it's costing retailers over $100 billion a year. That's billion with a B. These aren't just kids grabbing candy bars, it's organized.
And it's not just contained within the stores. That kind of chaos bleeds out into surrounding areas. Parking lots and garages, for example, are major hotspots. The data shows almost 40% of thefts from vehicles happen right there. Plus, in the U.S. alone, you're looking at over 600 violent incidents every single week happening in parking areas. They're just vulnerable spaces, often quiet, which criminals exploit.
Right. And it's not only about stopping crimes like theft or violence. Security teams are also constantly wrestling with other stuff, things like unauthorized access, people trespassing, persistent loitering that makes customers uncomfortable,
Yes, sir.
and just the general challenge of managing huge crowds safely in places like malls or transit hubs. It's constant pressure.
So when you pull all that together, the sheer volume of video, the complexity of these spaces, and these rapidly growing threats, it becomes really clear why just adding another guard or, 5 more cameras isn't the answer. It just doesn't scale effectively. The core issue isn't the number of eyes, it's the intelligence processing what those eyes see. The complexity just outruns any manual approach. You need intelligence that works 24/7 without getting tired, without making mistakes.
Okay, so the complexity demands a specialized team, but this team is software, like a virtual security squad. How does that actually work? Is it just one giant AI brain?
That's a great question. And what's interesting is that it's not monolithic. It's actually quite specialized, almost mirroring how a real-world security team operates. It's not one single algorithm trying to do everything. It's more like a suite of coordinated AI agents, each with a very specific role. Think patrol, deterrence, and forensics.
Okay, let's start with patrol. How can AI patrol an area without, physically walking around?
That's the job of the AI inspector, often working in what's called sentry mode. Think of this agent as your autonomous patrol unit. It's conducting continuous automated surveillance tours, 204/7. It's like having a super vigilant guard who never needs a coffee break and never blinks. It's constantly scanning defined zones. For instance, it might proactively scan a perimeter fence line looking for someone loitering nearby. Or it could flag something like tailgating, one car following another too closely through an entry gate, catching intrusions a human might miss during a quick glance. The key is, it's often looking for patterns of suspicious behavior, not just waiting for a crime to be completed.
Okay, wait a second, though. If it's flagging things like someone just hanging around or a car circling, isn't that going to generate a ton of false alarms? How does it go from just detecting something potentially suspicious to actually preventing something? If it just sends alerts all day, aren't we back to overwhelming the human guards?
That's a really critical point. And you're right, just detection isn't enough. The AI inspector handles the detection part, but the shift to actual prevention, that's handled by a second agent, the AI virtual guard. This is the agent that provides the active intervention. It takes the system from passive observation to immediate action.
Ah, and this is the one with the loudspeaker function you mentioned earlier, right? Tell us how that works.
Exactly. The virtual guard is equipped with, essentially, a remote loudspeaker capability. So when the AI inspector detects a verified threat, like it confirms someone is climbing a fence, or definitely lurking between cars in a pattern known to precede break-ins, the virtual guard doesn't just send an alert for a human to maybe look at later. It acts instantly. It issues a loud, clear audio warning, often tailored to the specific situation.
Like booming out. Attention! You are trespassing in a restricted zone. Security has been notified. Leave the area immediately. Something like that.
Precisely that sort of thing. And this immediate, real-time voice-down challenge, it very often makes the offender just flee right away. The aim is to stop the incident before it escalates into a crime or a confrontation. It dramatically improves safety because you reduce the need for a human guard to physically confront someone potentially dangerous. It's pure prevention.
That makes a lot of sense. Patrol detects, deterrence intervenes. Okay. But what if something does happen, or they need to figure out the sequence of events later? That brings us to the third piece, right? Forensics and, crucially, speed.
Correct. That's where the AI investigator comes in, especially with its magic search feature. This agent is all about forensic analysis. It basically transforms potentially thousands of hours of recorded video from just a long linear recording into a searchable indexed database. Think of it like turning your video archive into a queryable library, and this magic search capability. It's a total game changer for investigation speed. Instead of someone having to manually scrub through hours, maybe days of footage, security staff can literally just ask the system for what they need using natural language.
So you could type in something like, show me all the footage of a red pickup truck in Zone 3 between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m.
Exactly. Or find any person wearing a blue backpack near entrance A yesterday afternoon.
Wow. So it's basically like Google, but for your security camera footage.
Pretty much. And the speed increase is phenomenal. Our sources suggest that these AI-assisted investigations can resolve cases, on average, 72% faster. That means security teams can wrap up incidents in literally minutes, freeing up resources that used to be tied up for days on end just watching video.
Okay, so we've got this really smart AI brain, this virtual squad. But like we said, these public spaces are huge. Malls, parking lots, transit networks. How do you get the cameras feeding this AI out to everywhere they need to be, especially in spots where there's maybe no power outlet or network cable, middle of a giant parking lot, temporary construction zone, that kind of thing?
Right. The software needs the right hardware to be effective everywhere. You need that flexibility. And that means robust, often self-sufficient hardware solutions that can take the AI off-grid, so to speak. So for those really remote areas, you've got things like 4G solar cameras. These are completely self-powered. They use solar panels, have battery backups for night or cloudy days, and they connect wirelessly using the cellular network 4G or LTE. They're ideal for, say, the far perimeter of a massive distribution center, a remote section of a parking lot, or along fence lines where digging trenches for power and data cables would be super expensive or just impractical.
Okay, that covers the permanent but remote locations.
Yeah.
But what about security needs that pop up temporarily? Like maybe one specific corner of a parking garage suddenly has a string of vandalism incidents for a couple of weeks, or you need extra eyes during a big delivery event.
Yeah, for those kinds of rapid, targeted deployments, there's the guard box there. Think of it as a compact, mobile surveillance hub. It's lightweight, it's weatherproof, and crucially, it can be set up by 1 or 2 people in just minutes. You literally just drop the guard box there right where the problem is flaring up, power it on, maybe it has its own battery or plugs into a temporary source, and boom! It's running the full AI suite, the inspector, the virtual guard, right there, immediately. It brings the advanced security to the temporary problem instead of needing permanent infrastructure.
Gotcha. And then there's the really big stuff, right? Like a weekend music festival or a major public demonstration downtown. You can't just dot solar cameras everywhere overnight for something like that.
No, for that kind of massive short-term need, you bring out the heavy hitter. the Alpha trailer. This is basically a full self-contained mobile surveillance tower. It's mounted on a trailer chassis, easy to tow into place, and it usually has a telescopic mast that can extend way up, maybe 20 feet or more, mounting multiple cameras, often including pan, tilt, zoom, and thermal. It provides this huge 360-degree elevated view over a large area, perfect for big events, concerts, festivals, even emergency response scenes. It gives you that comprehensive oversight needed to manage large crowds and wide areas instantly.
Okay, brilliant. So we have the smart AI agents, and we have the flexible hardware to put them anywhere. Let's connect the dots. How do these work together in practice? Start with those parking lots again. They seem like such a common problem area.
Right. So in a parking lot, the AI completely changes the game. Instead of just recording a car break-in after it happens, the AI inspector is looking for those precursors we talked about. It flags, say, a car that's circling the lot multiple times without finding a spot, or someone who's lingering between parked cars for too long, maybe glancing inside windows. It catches those subtle signs of someone casing the area before they smash a window.
And then the virtual guard kicks in with the audio warning.
Exactly. Attention, your activity is suspicious. This area is under surveillance. Please leave the parking structure. It intervenes right then and there.
That feels like a massive improvement for actual safety. But you also mentioned operational benefits, even helping sales in a place like a mall. How does security AI help a store manager sell more?
Yeah, it's surprisingly effective beyond just pure security. In retail, for instance, loss prevention is huge, but so is customer experience. So the AI can monitor queue management. It literally counts the people waiting in checkout lines and measures how long they've been waiting. If the AI sees, say, more than 5 people waiting at registers A, B, and C for longer than 2 minutes, it can send an instant alert directly to the store manager's phone or headset. Something like, queue threshold exceeded at main checkouts. Open register D immediately.
So it stops shoppers from getting frustrated and just dumping their basket because the lines are too long.
Precisely. It prevents lost sales caused by a common operational bottleneck. So the same cameras doing security are also optimizing the business. And then you have the really high-stakes safety uses, especially in places like transit hubs. Think about someone accidentally falling off a subway platform onto the tracks. Every single second matters there. An AI system can detect that specific type of fall instantly, much faster than a human operator potentially could, and trigger an automated emergency start signal to any incoming trains. Those saved seconds can literally be life or death.
Wow. That's incredibly impactful. And what about managing just pure chaos, like a massive crowd at a big event?
AI is really good at that kind of chaos management, primarily by monitoring crowd density. There was a well-known case study at the Mahakumbh Mela, this enormous religious gathering in India attracting millions. The AI was used there specifically to detect dangerous surges in crowd density in real time. This allowed authorities to redirect flows or intervene before a deadly stampede could occur, which has tragically happened at large gatherings before.
So it predicts the danger points in the crowd.
Yes, and it can also detect anomalies within the flow. For example, if most people are moving one way, but the AI spots individuals moving rapidly against that flow, that can be a strong indicator of something wrong. Maybe panic spreading from an incident up ahead, maybe a security pursuit, maybe someone in distress. It gives security teams that real-time situational awareness they need to manage the situation effectively, instead of just reacting after the fact. And let's not forget the psychological aspect. Our sources mention that when people see modern smart security measures visibly in place, it actually boosts their confidence. They feel safer, they might stay longer, shop more, and be more likely to return.
Okay, so stepping back to look at the big picture here, what we're really seeing is this fundamental shift, isn't it? Moving away from just cleaning up after incidents and moving towards genuine prevention.
Absolutely. That's the #1 benefit, proactive deterrence. Because potential offenders start to understand that the system will likely detect and respond instantly, often with that loud audio warning, even before they can commit the crime. We're seeing reports from sites using this tech that show crime rates dropping by as much as 50%. That's a huge impact.
And preventing crime, especially major incidents, must translate into significant cost savings, right?
Yeah.
Huge ROI.
Oh, definitely. Firstly, it makes human guards much more effective. The AI filters out all the noise, all the false alarms, so guards only need to respond to verified escalating threats. But the bigger savings come from preventing the incidents themselves, the theft, the damage, the potential liability claims. Our sources cite examples where clients have seen potential operational savings exceeding $600,000 a year simply by stopping costly events before they happen and optimizing how they schedule and deploy their guards based on real AI-driven intelligence.
Which loops back to that scalability point you made earlier. This isn't just about fixing one problem spot.
Exactly. The AI platform delivers consistent, high-quality security performance that can scale up easily. Whether a venue expands or a company adds more locations to its network, you get that same level of proactive security without a proportional explosion in complexity or cost.
It really does seem to resolve that tension. These busy public spaces no longer have to choose between being open and accessible and being truly secure. They can actually aim for both now. So hopefully you, our listener, now have a much clearer picture of why overcoming human video blindness is so critical, how this specialized AI security squad works, and how flexible hardware lets it operate virtually anywhere. It's really changing the game for public security.
Definitely. And maybe here's a final thought to leave you with as you mull this over. We've focused heavily on how these AI systems make spaces safer, deter crime, speed up investigations, all crucial security functions. But remember that data we talked about, the foot traffic patterns, how long people wait in line, where crowds gather, dwell times. Those exact same eyes that never blink, installed primarily for security, are simultaneously generating a treasure trove of data that businesses are using to drive operational efficiency, improve customer experience, and make smarter commercial decisions. We're moving past security just being a cost center. It's becoming a source of valuable business intelligence, too. So the big question for the future, I think, is how do we navigate this convergence, this powerful blend of safety imperatives and commercial insights, all driven by the same tireless AI?
A really powerful convergence to think about. Safety and commerce, intertwined by AI. Thanks so much for sharing the insights from your sources and diving deep with us today into this video AI revolution.